is AEW Unrestricted, the official podcast of All Elite Wrestling. And I am Will Washington, and I am not alone here because she is somewhere in a hotel in Europe. It is the one and only, it is Aubrey Edwards. Thank you for being here, Aubrey.
I'm in Europe.
Yeah.
Little peek behind the curtain. Obviously, we travel a lot, so we may or may not film these ahead of time. But I am currently in what outside my window looks like Seattle, but is actually Scotland.
Honestly, no, honestly, that's why I'm just appreciative that we're still able to do this show with you being on the complete other side of the world. But don't forget, folks, that this show right here, AEW Unrestricted, is brought to you in part by our good friends over at Upper Deck. Yeah. And you can collect your favorite wrestlers in 2025 Upper Deck AEW and start your trading card collection today. Unwrapped autograph memorabilia or premium tech inserts. Visit upperdeck.com to learn more. I've got these brand new...
you got them?
These Metal Universe cards. These are phenomenal. I have got to take a look at these, but I wanted to unwrap. Yeah,
because I got the shipping notification while I was on my way to Scotland that mine arrived, so I will have them when I get home. But I'm good with spoilers on this front. Let's see. What do we got?
Yeah, look at these. We got these shiny cards. We got Orange Cassidy here. We've got. Look at this. We got Mark Briscoe.
I like these. These are so shiny.
Yeah, but hold on. There's a card that cracked me up here. Ready? So we got this trios card here, right? And you can't talk about AEW trios without talking about the trio of Taz, Excalibur, and Tony Schiavone.
That's incredible. Oh, that card looks like, and with the particular kind of foil it has, it looks like it's straight out of like a 90s sitcom, which is just perfect given like the relationship of those three gentlemen. Oh my God, I love this so much. I'm excited. I'm going to get home and I'm going to get to open up my new Upper Deck cards. They're waiting for me. My cat sitter definitely brought the package inside, so shout out to Samantha. She doesn't listen to this podcast, but she knows. She knows in here, damn it.
Well, how has your time in Scotland been so far?
It's been wild and really interesting because we don't come over here often, right? It's only been once a year. This is our first time in Scotland proper for AEW, but coming to the UK in general, this is our third time. So I was just walking around near Glasgow Central. I had my iced Americano, black, because I like my coffee cold and black like my heart. And I'm walking around and this car stops, rolls down her window, and she goes, "Aubrey?" I'm like, "Hi," not expecting to see someone. She's like, "Hi, it's Nicola." And it's someone who's working our street team booth at the Dynamite tomorrow. So it's someone I've met through Heels. And I'm like, "Oh, hi." And I like high five her as all of these cars behind her are honking. And I'm just like, this was fun. Awesome. So then I go to this donut shop, which is really great. It's in the Shawlands. It's called Tantrum Donuts. And I walk in and you see like, when someone is a wrestling fan and they do that like big wide-eyed thing when they see someone they think they know. And they're like, I have a question. I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" It's like, are you Aubrey? And I'm like, yes, I am. She's like, "You came here last year. You ate our donuts. I was hoping you'd come back." And of course, I ordered everyone's favorite, vanilla, because vanilla is the favorite flavor. And they've got a lot of other flavors of donuts, but I happen to be a big fan of vanilla. And I think that's very adamant. So Will, who is our guest today?
Well, today we are joined by Vanilla Baby himself. He is one half of the ROH tag team. We're calling him Swirl. He is Blake Christian. Blake, thanks for being here on AEW Unrestricted.
Thanks for having me.
When I heard the tag team name Swirl, I immediately was like, damn it, why did Will and I not think of that first?
You can thank Renee for that one.
I know.
She put it out there, so we just ran with it.
Well, I love it. It works. You guys have been really clicking as a team. Let's talk about the tag team to start and how you and Big Shotty Lee Johnson have really found your chemistry together.
Yeah, I think we actually wrestled each other like in the AEW Dark Orlando days. So I always knew that like Lee was really good, and I hopefully he thought the same about me. But he's been around AEW for a while, and so have I, but him longer than me. So Tony sees things. I said this on Renee's thing too. Like Tony sees things that we don't see like right off the bat, and he's like, oh, there's something here, and then everybody else was also like, there's something there, and yeah, it's been a blessing for us. It's I think that and the Vanilla Baby has been a blessing for me. But yeah, we've just been clicking and enjoying the ride.
Talk a little bit about kind of like how you two work well together, because obviously watching you two in the ring, you have your own unique styles, but you also seamlessly like combine flavors. I don't know. Are we just going to get into ice cream ones with this one or not? Maybe. So it was like, talk about your chemistry a little bit. Like, how is it working with Lee, knowing that like you see something in him, we all see something in the both of you, and yeah, I mean Tony has a knack for putting people together in a tag team.
Lee is like deceptively like really, he's like a heavyweight strong guy, So, I can bounce ideas off of him. He's like, yeah, I can pick him up for that. Yeah, I can lift him for that. Or he'll say like, what if I pick this guy up like this? And it kind of opens my mind up for like new things, because maybe I didn't know that he could. Sorry, my dog is in my way.
No, we love animals on the podcast. It's fine.
It opens up like ideas that I didn't really think of. So like it's just discovering new things about each other like each and every day. Like I didn't know that he was like Superman strong. So.
Well, the beauty of the team is that Ring of Honor has really given talent the opportunity to really experiment and find themselves and find new things that you can then take and bring onto TV. And you guys have had two really good big TV opportunities just recently. You guys got to wrestle Paragon mid-August, and then before that, you had to wrestle both Swerve and Will Ospreay, going with they had a big rivalry going into All In with the Young Bucks. And so kind of talk about how you guys were able to kind of seize that opportunity and make a splash for you guys or for yourselves on TV.
So I actually have wrestled both Will and Swerve like previously back in the day, back when I had long hair and stuff like that. So, I've known those guys for a while. So, and they've always been kind of like mentors to me and help me out where I need. So for Lee and I to get that opportunity to really work with those guys and learn from those guys, even Kyle and Roddy, guys I grew up watching. So to get to learn from those guys and wrestle those guys, it was an opportunity for sure.
So I would definitely want to talk about the Vanilla Baby thing, because I remember distinctly the first time I worked with you and it happened. I saw it on the Tron and I just like smiled and went, yes. This makes all the sense in the world. And I immediately thought of Jack Harlow, so I was really happy you did that at karaoke, by the way. So how did the Vanilla Baby come about? Because I feel it's smart. It's brilliant.
So I made this like highlight video, because where I come from, like in Tennessee, low down, like the big thing, they were like, oh, make highlight videos so people can see you. So I've always like done that, even though I hate doing it because it's so time consuming. And the attitude that I had at the time was just, it felt the vibe of that song. So I put that song on, and I made it like early January of 2024. And, it did all right. But then, like, I don't know, July, it just went crazy. And everyone was sharing it everywhere and everywhere and everywhere. And I ignored it for a while, but people were like, just kept putting it out there. And then when Final Battle announced that Survival of the Fittest match, I texted like everybody I know. I was like, hey, can we change my Videotron to Vanilla Baby? And like, absolutely. And then, yeah, it kind of just rode ever since. It became a meme. And then I said, why not make some money off this meme,
That is wrestling.
Well, the beauty of it is like, you take the fact that I think it really caught Tony's attention. And when you can catch Tony Khan's attention, and he really resonated with him, and you could really see it flow into, the Final Battle essentially was where it really made its way into the ROH lexicon, and all of a sudden now it's like a thing on TV.
It's awesome.
And, talking about that, it really goes hand in hand with the fact that, like you were mentioning, like, Lee has been around AEW for the last 5 years, but you were right behind him, having been around for the last, what is it, about 3 years? Has it been a little over 3.5?
Yeah, a little over 3.5. Yeah.
Yeah, and so thinking about the fact that you've had so much time in and around AEW, whether it was working Dark or Ring of Honor, and then having those TV opportunities, got to talk about the fact that sometimes you can be on TV, you can be having those matches, you can be having those dark matches, whatever it is, and sometimes it takes something as simple as Vanilla Baby to get people's attention. And how did it feel, kind of finally having that moment that made even the most casual viewer go, oh, that's Blake Christian, I should pay attention to him.
Yeah, it goes back to Final Battle. I remember Tony pulled me aside and he's like, "Hey, let's bring out that character that I see online a lot." And I said, "I've been waiting for this, so absolutely." And I remember Brian Cage coming up to me. He says, "You've been a good guy. Like, are you sure you're gonna get this bad guy like feeling?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." And then he comes out. He comes out and he gets in the ring. And the crowd is just chanting like Blake Christian sucks, or they're singing Blake Christian sucks. And I look at Brian and I wink at him. He goes, "All right, all right." So yeah, like I don't know. It's like with that song, I just have like a certain attitude. I don't know what it is. I just snap into like something. And even without the song, and the crowd was like singing Blake Christian sucks and all this, it just allowed me to like tap into that. And that's what I love to do. So yeah. I don't know. It's been a surreal since.
Has there anything about your matches that have changed now that you sort of have this new direction in your persona? Because obviously wrestling as a heel is different than a babyface, but is there anything that you've kind of taken this new change and applied it directly to your matches?
I think so, but like my offense has always been, flashy, but I think that kind of plays into like the Vanilla Baby character, because the saying that I like when people ask like, what does that even mean? I'm like, if you call me vanilla, then vanilla is the greatest flavor of all time, So to do things that not a lot of people see, I think is a part of it. But then to like do something cool and then bounce back into that same like, I don't know, bad guy character, sleazy, cocky, to bounce right back to it. It's like, oh, yay, but, oh, here he goes being cocky again. I hate this guy, So it plays a little bit, but yeah, it changed a little bit.
This has been an excellent conversation, and it's going to continue to be an excellent conversation because we got more with Blake Christian right here when AEW Unrestricted continues. We're going to take a quick break.
AEW Unrestricted. It is Aubrey, it is Will, and we are with Vanilla Baby Blake Christian, talking all kinds of stuff with Lee, with Swirl, with all of the cool shit he's doing on TV, all the like amazing matches he's having. He's one of those guys that like every time I work with him, I'm like, oh shit, I'm excited today. Like you've got that sort of like vibe about you where it's like you kind of surprise people a lot. And I don't know if that's something that you intentionally try to do, but I think it's one of those, we know we're going to get something good, like literally every time you come into the ring. And I remember the first time I saw that was when you were working in GCW. And that was sort of like my introduction to you, is you were just all over the place. Every time GCW had a show, your face was there. And I mean, eventually you did become GCW champion. So how did GCW sort of prepare you for AEW?
It was all, God, I can't even remember when it was, but one day the world just like turned on me, like everyone was hating me online, everyone hated me in the crowd, and it kind of caught me off guard because up until then I just been like, good guy Blake, So once that, I come from like deep South Tennessee, so working a Memphis style is no problem for me, but as far as like anything that I've ever done, like this was new because this was like a different type of hate. And yeah, we just ran with it. And then I continued to play along with it. And eventually people were throwing garbage at me and I was letting it happen and I was letting the rain come in, And so, and I think that allowed me to kind of play with that character a little more, maybe a little less PG, of course, but but it allowed me to bring that type of experience and know what to do, like when this happens for like Ring of Honor or AEW, which I think showed like in Final Battle for sure.
Well, I want to take it a little bit further back because, of course, we talked about, a lot of 2022 and coming in 2022, and then we were just talking about GCW. 2021 was an interesting year for you because that, was a brief time where the world kind of got to know Trey Baxter.
Yes.
And, I talk a little bit about that time because it was very short lived. And kind of talk a little bit about, kind of give our audience what exactly went on there.
Yeah, so I think this also plays into like finding myself after all of that, but even like after coming out of there and stop being Trey Baxter, like, and becoming Blake Christian again, and I still kind of was like, it's just I'm not clicking, or I'm not clicking with myself, like I'm doing all the cool things I used to do and blah blah blah, but like something is just not clicking for me. And so I think with the Trey Baxter thing, it was exactly that. I came in and I knew I was a good wrestler. I knew I could do all the things I needed to do, but there was just something missing in myself. Like I didn't know who I was or who I wanted to be, but I was kind of just going with the motions. And so going with the motions is not ever going to be enough. And then when I came out, it was like kind of right back into what I was doing, and it was still going through the motions. But then that's like with the GCW thing, like when I became this vanilla baby, Blake Christian, all heat, whatever you want to call it, it really like allowed me to find out like, oh, this is what I really want to do. This is who I really want to be. So yeah, I think with all of that, it's like I was just going through the motions and doing what I was told, and like waiting for my time, or if I was gonna find myself and I really wasn't, stuff like that.
I find it interesting that, we're talking about finding yourself because, a lot of people really take a lot of time. That we've had guys on this show who have talked about not really finding exactly what it was that made it work for them until, sometimes it's year 7 for a lot of guys. It's year 10. And I say all that to say that we're still really early in Blake Christian's career. And, it really started in going back, I want to say 2019. Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah. Well, actually, 2017.
2017.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well, even still, I mean, look, we're less than 10 years in, and just thinking about the fact that it is such a young career for you, and to have kind of that opportunity so young, we're talking 2021, very early in your career, and then to find Vanilla Baby even just 2 years later after that. Kind of talk about. So I wanted to ask more so, where did it all get started? What made that click happen 2017 that said, okay, this is a dream I'm going to chase?
I knew I wanted to be like a wrestler, like early on, like 2003 maybe, I think it was. I knew like when I first saw it on TV, I was like, oh, this is exactly like this is what I want to do. But I thought the way I heard it described was like it's a flying unicorn. You don't know how to do it as a kid. You don't know how to see it or like get there, or you think these people are like born into this, or they're superheroes or whatever it is. And so I was like, I don't know how I ever achieved that. So, but as I got older, I got smarter and all this and that. And my parents were like, no, you need to go to college first. Have a backup. And so I was like, okay, yeah, yeah. And I started college, and then I got into like nursing school, and I was in there for a while, but I was also kind of like, still, I want to wrestle. I want to wrestle. And then my friend had actually passed away, and it kind of like sent me into like this little, I just didn't know what to do, and my dad saw what I was going through, and he hit up these guys that were like an hour away, and they also saw what I was going through, and then they said, hey, you can come train. And so, I got in there, and the first time I stepped into a ring, I was like, this is it, all that. Like, I still was upset that my friend had passed away, but like it took my mind off of it because I knew this is what I've always wanted. So yeah, like it clicked as soon as I stepped into the ring, no doubt.
Damn. Oh, like sorry about your friend passing away, but like those are those magical moments of wrestling, right? Like that when and the line about the unicorn was so great. I'm definitely going to steal that. But to know that feeling of you step inside the ropes and then this is what I need to do, and then fast forward and now you're here talking to us, and it's just crazy to see this journey that you've been on. And we've talked a lot about the different points of this journey, but we haven't talked about your time with New Japan. And you were in Best of the Super Juniors 2024. You've also worked with New Japan Strong during the pandemic. So what was it like working for New Japan in various different times?
So obviously New Japan was always like a dream of mine. So, cause that's where like a lot of the wrestlers that like I idolized or I like watched and studied when I was becoming a wrestler, I was like, this is the type of style I want to do. So it was always a dream of mine. And when they finally like messaged me and said, hey, we're doing these tapings up in Los Angeles, and we would, sorry, please, dog. And then where was I at? Oh, they were doing these tapings in Los Angeles. And I was like, absolutely. And it was a weird time, no doubt, because those tapings were like in front of nobody. And all we could hear, especially the first one, there was no commentators. The commentators came later, and it was very like all you could hear was you breathing and your opponent breathing. So it was a very weird time in those tapings. But I mean, I got to do a lot of cool things. I did the Super J Cup there. I did the Young Lions tournament there. I even did like qualifying matches for the New Japan Cup, the USA New Japan Cup there. So I mean, it was really cool, and I got to wrestle a lot of guys that like I grew up watching, like TJP, ACH. Let's calm down. Let's calm down. There's a dog outside. But
I think at this point our audience just needs to meet the dog. Can we?
Yeah, come on. Let's see the dog. Come on. Oh, the puppy. Hello. So now when we hear the heavy breathing on the microphone, we know it's not.
Yes. But
our audio listeners didn't get to appreciate that, but
it was
people watching the video. Very cute.
Saw another dog outside and started going a little crazy. But yeah, so the New Japan stuff like in USA was great, but once they said, hey, like, and it was very like, I believe they hit me up in February for the Best of Super Juniors, and I'm like, I was like, absolutely, this is something that I've always wanted to do. And I wrestled Hiromu in Nashville, and I even wrestled Hiromu and Desperado in like North Carolina, and I was like, this, and they were great matches, and I was like, people were telling me, oh, you're definitely going to Super Juniors, and even after like Desperado and Hiromu like did the promo like, please come to Super Juniors, and I was like, oh, this will be the year, and then it wasn't the year, and then 2024 finally around. And it was just surreal to be out there and to do the things that I got to do and wrestle the people I got to wrestle. And it was a dream come true.
Yeah, that's incredible. And like I said, I still find myself stuck on the timeline of it all because, again, that is, we're talking 4 years into your career that you essentially have to now be thrown to wrestling in New Japan in front of nobody. For that to be your experience with, again, some of the guys that you, like you mentioned, getting to work or looking up to and kind of, emulating styles after, and to get to do it in a way, like, how do you find yourself learning from these guys and still being able to project it in the ring without the feedback of the audience?
I think because like my first match in New Japan was literally, it was me, ACH, I can't remember our tag partner, against TJP and some other guy so long ago, and that time was so crazy. But the TJP being like a staple in New Japan, so for in a junior division at that, so for him to get in there with him for the first time in a New Japan ring in a New Japan setting, it was learning right off the bat. And I think me bouncing ideas off of him and him being like, okay, well, this can work here, or this can work there. And I've worked TJP so many times now, and even a singles match in Best of Super Juniors. So to go from what it was in pandemic era to in the Super Juniors tournament, to see that growth from there and there. Yeah, it was. I don't know. I think I call it like learning in the ring, because it's not like I don't get the feedback from the crowd, but like if TJP says, "Yeah, that's great," or "Yeah, let's do it," then I know like something's right, because he's not going to go out there and do something that's not right.
Damn. Man, they're just like dropping all kinds of nuggets of knowledge and wisdom today. I love it so much. This is a great conversation with Blake. We've got Aubrey and Will here on AEW Unrestricted. Got a little bit more after the break, so stay tuned. Come right back.
AEW Unrestricted. It's Aubrey and Will, and we are here with Vanilla Baby, Blake Christian. Mr. Christian, I want to take you back to that time in 2003, discovering professional wrestling and deciding that not only is this, does it have me engrossed, not only is this the thing that entertains me, but this is the thing I want to do. What exactly was it that that captivated you about professional wrestling?
So my parents both. So my dad was a paramedic, so he worked like 48-hour shifts, and then my mom was a radiologist, so she worked like 7 to 7 or 7 to 9, and so the babysitter that
huge
was like,
medical background, by the way. We got to get into that.
Yeah. Oh my God.
there was like a babysitter like in our town, which is called like Friendship, Tennessee, and like everyone loved her. Her name was Mammy, and then her husband's name was Day Day, and so they were like my grandparents. And so my mom, I would always be like the one kid that had to stay late because my parents like worked long shifts. And it was I believe it was Thursday. This is when everything was on Thursday. And she's like, "Oh, you can come in here with me." Like she goes to her room when wrestling comes on. And she's like, "You can come in here with me or you can stay out here and watch wrestling with Dada." I said, What is wrestling?" And she's like, "Oh, you just stay out here and watch it with him." And yeah, I can't even remember what match it was, but from the intro, I was hooked. And I was like, "I want to come over here every Thursday." And he's like, "Oh, it comes on Monday too." I said, "I want to come over here every Monday. And I want to watch this." And yeah, from then on out, she had like these little bags of like, it had like Batman in it and wrestlers. And every time wrestling would come on, I'd take the bag and I would go in there. And she had like this little stool that was like a rectangle shape. So it wasn't exactly a square, but I would pretend it was a ring and I would play wrestlers while wrestling was on. So yeah, I was hooked from the intro. It wasn't a specific match or anything like that. It was just the intro, and then there I was.
I love hearing people's makeshift stories of what they had to do for like rings. Yeah, because like mine was a chessboard, so like I get it. Where you just had to find
a good
stuff.
One. I ain't heard that one. That's a good one.
Yeah, you
That's
just had to find
like so you.
Yes,
that's a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. It was like, you know what? Throw the chess pieces off and just like put my wrestlers on, and I'm like, I'm done playing chess. We're having a no holds barred match. But I so again, you kind of mentioned the medical backgrounds of your parents. Did that kind of go hand in hand with the fact that you mentioned, of course, they wanted you to have a plan of going to college. You mentioned. You did a little bit of nursing school. Was all of that kind of tied together? Is it, did they kind of see like, we're in the medical field, this is what you need to be doing?
I think because like they were in the medical field, like they knew like a nurse is like, it's a great job, like great money.
Need them all the time.
Exciting, and stuff like that. So I was like, they always kind of put that out, like, this is what you need to do. Like you'll live great, live comfortable. And that was a big thing for like what my parents wanted. And
sure, it's what they understand. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
They get it. And then, my parents had actually got divorced and my dad had married another nurse. And so she's putting it on me as well, And I was like, yeah, guys, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, And then by the time I was actually in nursing school, wrestling had, it was around pandemic time that I was in nursing school. And that's kind of when like I started doing New Japan, and then I did Impact, and like all these things are like popping off for me. And I said, it's so hard to be in nursing school and also pursue wrestling, because nursing school is a test every single day. And then, I'm bouncing back and forth. This is before flight times too. So I'm bouncing back and forth and I'm getting no sleep and I'm not studying. And I'm like, I just can't do this. And so I swapped my major to criminal justice, and then wrestling really took off during that time. And I said, well, criminal justice is not my dream. Being a nurse is not my dream. Being a wrestler is my dream. So I'm not going to pass up these opportunities where my career is like really, really taking off. And I have a chance to really like get a good job in this and make good money. So this is what I'm doing. And so I left college and came this.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of becomes clear where it's slapping you across the face like, hey, dude, this is the decision you have to make. And you're seeing good success in all of these different places. People are chanting your name, like, go for it. And it's really scary, especially when it's the thing that your parents have basically encouraged you to do and you're going against it. But it definitely worked out in your favor. So
Absolutely.
I'm kind of curious what your parents think now, given that, like, wrestling, sometimes things go wrong and sometimes people get hurt, and they understanding real well what injuries look like and stuff. What has sort of that relationship with wrestling been like?
So that was like their thing. Like, what if you get hurt, or what if this? Do you have anything to bounce back on? And I'm like, no, I don't. And I get where they were coming from, but that was also at a time of like I was wrestling in front of 100 people or less for $20, and wasting all my money to drive there and then eating a gas station sandwich on the way back. And he's like, and my dad especially, because he was a big one that like put it on me, and even my mom. He's like, what are you gonna do? Like, if something happens, you need something to like back up on. Like, your mom and I can't take care of you forever, And once they finally saw like, oh, he's doing more. He's going to Los Angeles. He's going to the UK. He's going to all these other places. It's like, maybe this is what he's meant to do. And yeah, my parents have been so supportive, especially once they saw like, this is what, I was going to defy it either way. I was going to find a way to do what I needed to do. But once they saw like, this is taking off for him, he's doing really well, this is what he's meant to do, they were really like supportive after that. Especially my dad, he owns like a store that's connected to an apartment, gave me a place to live, all this and that, so I could just pursue wrestling. So I got it kind of easy, but my parents, so thankful for those guys.
Ah, man. I mean, and honestly, like, I get it. Like, as a parent myself, I know that I'm going to take anything I know and apply it to whatever it is my kids want to do, and to try to guide them in a way that I understand. And of course, if I understand the medical side of things, I understand the human body, and understand that the human body isn't exactly meant to do the things that you guys do in the ring, but that's what makes it. So that's what makes what you guys do so special, is the fact that you're not meant to do that, but you do it. And so to get to the level you've gotten to, and I kind of want to bring it back all the way full circle. I want to take it to just a few weeks ago. Actually, it's been a couple months now, hasn't it? A little over a month. Taking it back to All In Weekend. Because a moment got to happen at the AEW karaoke event. And that, as Vanilla Baby has taken off this last year, what was it like getting to perform Lovin' On Me in front of the fans at the AEW karaoke event?
So I put that tweet out like as a joke. I completely was not going to do it. But when I showed up, Speedball was also there. And he kind of gives me like a stiff shot like in the ribs, and he says, get up there and do the song. I was like, man, they don't even have it on the list, man. And it was either get kicked by Speedball or do the song. And then by the time I did the song, Speedball had left. So it wasn't even, But I mean, I think it was enjoyable for the fans. They loved it. It was fun. The people who were watching in the back, they loved it. So I mean, I don't know. It was a fun experience, and it was it is what it is.
To be fair, if you want to hold it against him, I don't think Speedball even sang. So
no, he didn't.
Yeah.
Shame on him. He peer
shame on
pressured
him.
me into doing it, and then there we go.
No, honestly, like, I just think about the fact that, like, I love the fact that the karaoke event, shout out Aubrey, by the way, was such a hit. But a big part of what made it such a hit was the fact that there were so many unexpected moments, and everybody with their cameras was posting these moments online, and to see yours get not only get posted, but then it was like picked up by all the news sites where it's like Blake Christian performs "Lovin' on Me" in front of the audience at AEW karaoke, and it's like you've really made this your thing and really made it your own.
Yeah.
And I love watching that happen, and watching now it's the main piece of a tag team, Swirl. Like, what is Swirl without Vanilla Baby, right? And great. So, like, I just love watching that. As you mentioned, it was a video that came out January of 24, and didn't even do anything till the summer, and then all of a sudden now it is a big part of who you are.
Yeah, tell Jack Harlow it's my song now. My song, not even his anymore.
Technically, he sampled from someone else too, so arguably it wasn't his either.
Tell them both. It's my song now.
There we go.
Now.
This has been a great conversation. We've had a chance to talk with Blake Christian. You can follow him on Instagram at @real_Blake Christian and on Twitter _Blake Christian. He will choke you, but he is not a killer baby. AEW Unrestricted is sponsored in part by Upper Deck. Collect your favorite wrestlers in the 2025 Upper Deck AEW and start your trading card collection today. You can unwrap autograph memorabilia, premium tech inserts. You can visit upperdeck.com to learn more. You can listen to and follow this podcast, AEW Unrestricted, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And then you can check out this video episodes and see Blake's cute little dog on our YouTube channel, AEW Unrestricted. Just hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And if you're not an AEW insider, you can get early access to ticket pre-sales, special merchandise offers, and more straight to your inbox. Sign up today, AEWTix.com. Don't forget, Dynamite, TBS, Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. and on HBO Max. Collision, Saturday nights, TNT and HBO Max. ROH streams every Thursday on Honor Club. And I'm Will Washington. You're Aubrey Edwards. We've just swirled together at this point. I don't know who is who anymore. I am Aubrey Edwards. That's Will Washington. Thank you so much for listening to AEW Unrestricted. Peace.